Okay, well, thanks for joining today. Hey, listen, today I just wanted to talk a little bit about leverage. There's a couple ways to scale your business, and I'm going to tell you my business is changing, just the world's changing. And before the pandemic, I used to do a lot of door knocking, a lot of cold calling, all of that kind of stuff, and really just want to talk to you guys a little bit about leverage and how important certain things are. If you think about gardeners or poolmen or people that they work for their money. And I think there's also this mindset that we create in the United States and many other countries as well, where it's go to school, get a job, study, work hard, and you'll do well. You're trading. I mean, what are you trading when you do that? You're trading your time for money. And then the next level above that is going to be like managers. You manage, you manage some people and the market pays you a little bit more. The average pay, I think, for people that are trading time for money and just hard work to make more money, we're talking about people making 40, 60, 80,000 dollars a year, right? Managers, you manage some people, it takes a little bit more skill. The market pays a little bit more for that, maybe 200 if you're in the corporate world, something like that. Next, on top of that is the communicator. And the communicator is talking like authors, speakers, actors, people that are in media talking to a lot of people and communicating and have the skill set of learning how to communicate. And those people are going to make even more money. And then you have, but the real secret to where all the multimillionaires really make their money is going to be leveraging your time. So if we're talking about leveraging your time, how can we do that in a real estate business to really multiply the effect that you have? And hey, Leon, how are you? Thanks for joining today. So when we're talking about maximizing your communication skills and leveraging your time, that's where you're going to make the most money. And my business is shifting since I've joined EXP and the KMO organization and all that kind of stuff. All these concepts that we're talking about are really speaking one to many, leveraging our time. And how do we do that? And using these methods like the internet that really was infantile 10, 20 years ago. And now, even thanks to the pandemic, we're using Zoom. And so how do we leverage these things? And does everyone follow along with that? Does everyone agree with that? Does anyone not agree with that?
100%.
100%?
100%. Yes. Finding the who or your
Finding
how
finding
is
the who.
huge.
Yeah. And
Yep.
and I think it's kind of funny because I say, Wendy, you got to get on the phone, call all these people. Guess what? She's leveraging her time now. She hired an ISA to do that. And how's that paying off for you?
It's paying off really well. And the thing is, I was also told if you don't like to do it, find someone to do it. So just do what you love. So I do what I love. And yes, I did hire that out. I still make some calls, but it's funny because Herb and I are like opposite. He loves to door knock and he loves to make calls. I am zero loving any of that. And so I want to digitally market. I want to be in front of 500,000 people instead of knocking on doors and walking up 500 driveways. So I get it. It works good for him, but he's also learning how to digitally door knock, which is helping his door knocking because they're also seeing him on social media now. He's farming neighborhoods to where they're seeing him in his feed and they're seeing him on the street and handing out stuff and in the mail.
And
So
and what's interesting because I think I've found myself in a spot where I, I don't have the time anymore to do all this door knocking, to do all this calling. I have too many people in my database. I can't even possibly get to everybody. So it's like I'm having to now create new mechanisms to be able to stay top of mind in front of tons of people and leverage the technology in order to get this response and have people call me.
Yeah.
And one beautiful thing is I'm using Follow Up Boss, but I also am using Chime. And I know Leon here is a Chime lover. And I got to tell you, it's an amazing program. It really is. And it does so many things automatically. And it talks to the people. And I get a sense for where they're at in the process. And I know if I have to call them or not, which is just changes the whole world because now I can just load all kinds of leads in that thing and just let that thing run and have at it. And direct people in my newsletters, in my communications to that website so that it monitors what they're doing. And based on that, it creates alerts for me of whether or not I have to follow up on them. And I think the other piece is so leveraging your time. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm at this shift where it was manageable for me before until I started getting involved with Facebook advertising and street text and creating all these leads. And now it just becomes, I mean, Wendy, your database of, I don't know, 50,000 people. I can't even imagine what that is like. I just yesterday I noticed on my phone, so my phone has contacts. So all the people that I know, all the people I've talked to, anyone that I've talked to goes in my phone. If they were a lead that I spoke with, they're in my phone now. Anyway, that list is 10,000 people right now. And I saw that yesterday. I go, I can't even believe this 10,000 people I know. I need to be communicating to all these 10,000 people. And it's growing in effective email communication using videos in your emails, retargeting, Facebook ads, TikTok, YouTube channels, all of these things. These are today's marketing mechanisms. I mean, back in the days, you think about brokerages and all that kind of stuff and how they were organized and how things are changing. And now, with the advent of EXP and the way that life has kind of changed, where the real successful agents are spending money on advertising. They're advertising on the social media platforms. They're utilizing the technology so that they can build their brand, build their business, and communicate to more and more people. What do you guys think of that? Does anyone have any comments or anything that they want to chime in on that?
I'll say it like this. I always say you don't chase every shiny new button. A year ago, when I went and switched over to Lofty, one of the things I decided was I need to stop having to just bounce all over the map looking for things. So less was better. I had Follow Up Boss running because I had done Ylopo for a while, but I consolidated everything into my Lofty. I still run the home bot and I use Street Text to push them over. But the thing is, what you have to remember is on the receiving end, everybody has a different level of communication. So tags and notes are important because you get the old school people that want that phone call and whatever. But for your time management, because that is the worst thing in this career field, people have a worst about time management. Even if you're good, that one phone call to go show a house or go do a listing can interrupt you. So less was better, and you learn to let the systems do what they're supposed to do. And then at that point, when we always hear about follow up, follow up, follow up, you prioritize who's top of the list to bottom, and you just make it happen. And at that point, you can deal with a larger database and be more effective and still have more time left over.
I love hearing that because I really think that if you think about the people that are really wealthy and talking about all these levels of going from trading time, your muscle basically for money, and then going up that chain. And then, like, if you really think about it, it's the ones that are leverage the key. Like, how do you leverage your time? So you've heard it a million times, work smarter, not harder, because I don't think you have to work harder to do even better in real estate. I mean, I'm looking at I think this morning, a big aha happened to me. I was looking in my follow-up boss down, and there's a column for price. And I'm looking at the active leads that are engaging, and I'm noticing the price. I'm not even sure where this comes from, but somehow it comes in there. It kind of knows what they're looking at or how much their house is worth or those kind of things. In this price column, they're all in the millions. And I'm going, oh, I don't need to work harder. I can probably, if I just, if I didn't advertise to get any more leads in my database, I'd be doing fine. I just need to work all of those leads in my database in a systematic, efficient manner and leverage myself. I've heard of agents that seriously, they only have 200 people in their database, yet they're selling like crazy, making plenty of money. Like they don't need more people. It's like the people in your database, leverage them, stay in contact with them, keep them going, and attract them to you. What do you guys think about that?
No, that's a smart thing because the funny, I hate to say funny, but here's some truth. People close the deal and go on to the next one, and they don't realize the business is already created where they're at. So rather than go after where they're at, they're starting from scratch all over again. So when you look at the waste of time, I say your life getting sucked out of you, you're already the expert for where you were, whether you're a buyer side or listing side. So, people fail to handle this as a business, Herb. They turn around and just, oh, I got to check. I got to check. A lot of people get in real estate for the wrong reason, which is why so many fail. And so, even with the smaller database, if you are always in front of somebody and they know who you are, people sometimes we take it for granted thinking, oh, they'll just remember us. And then you look up and they'll go, oh, wow, Joanna, I forgot you sell real estate. It could be somebody that was a friend to you. And you can't take it personal. It's business. What you got to remember on the business side is you must have failed to get the message in front of them. They ain't just getting in front of them, it's keeping the message in front of them. So even if you got to turn around and Wendy's probably the queen of newsletters, and I think Carrie puts them out too. So to get that newsletter out, it shouldn't just be going to clients in there. It should go to everybody so that you're always the one. And you create business within your business. So even with 200, if 200 people are getting it and they're sharing it out, their news feed sends it out, you're going to create the business, but you also need the systems to capture it.
Yeah, the systems are what's going to explode your business because you are only one person and one brain. So when you dump all of your stuff into systems, the systems automates. It's kind of cool. This morning I woke up and we did Chris Harden's Book Me Solid for our listings. So it goes out there on the internet, on Facebook, and someone clicks on it to get more information about the property and goes right into Messenger. And the bot sits there and chats with them. Is this the perfect home? Oh, would you prefer a single story? Would you prefer a 3-bedroom? What's your price range? Da, da, da. It asks the questions. It's a bot. They're not intelligent. They're not feeling empathy like the people in Lofty, those AIs. I'm sure they're like human somewhere. But no, this is literally just a bot asking questions. But I wake up to emails, phone numbers. This is what I'm looking for. This is where I'm looking. And I was sleeping so sound while that shit was happening. And so when Krista says views while you snooze, same thing for leads. If you get all that, guess what? Then you're just waking up and saying, okay, here, I got your search set up. Are you pre-approved? When are you ready to go shopping? So it's all about having the system set in place to where it makes your life better.
I love hearing that. I think I'd agree. I think that's, I mean, why not?
Don't you have a VA, Herm?
I do. And she helps me with a lot of the marketing stuff and all that. I don't have her making phone calls or any of that kind of stuff.
But does she help you with reels and posting and stuff like that, or no?
A little bit. I mean, I have her doing a lot of things and creating content and editing. She can do some video editing and all that kind of stuff. And she sets up my weekly newsletters and all of that. But yes, I need to get, and I don't quite exactly, I mean, I need this. I'm starting in that path where it's the video creation. And so it's coming along. It's not there yet, but I'm making little small strides and steps to do that. So yeah.
See, I'm jealous of the VA. I want a VA that knows how to do stuff and I don't have to train them how to do stuff. So Joanne does a lot, but she can't be my VA too, because I have a million things going on in here that I need to get to here. And but I don't have the patience to train a VA. I just want her to know everything.
In your case, Wendy, you have to train your VA initially out the gate. You need to. And the thing is this though, first off, it's an interview. It's got to be a fit. And if they're fit, they know you because
They're liars though.
you
Oh
need
yeah, I
some
know how to do that.
you need somebody that thinks like Wendy. And so I tell people top of mind, number one, starting out my new folks, pay for that transaction coordinator after your first couple of deals. I don't want them to do it right away because they need to understand their files. If you're so new that you don't understand your files, you're lost. You
Right.
got to be the face to run the place. If it's a $10 an hour job, give it to someone else. Because what they don't realize is that money savings, time is something you can't get back at $10 an hour. It's nothing, especially when you look at what you generate because of it. And a delegation of tasks. So you're a broker, manager, whatever. You got enough people under you that if you sat there and took time to do everything for everybody, you'd have no life.
I know. I'm learning that. I'm learning that. But yeah, the VA thing. So
Well,
Kirby, when you hired a VA, like how did you know that was that one? That's
okay,
when you
so
want it.
yes, so I've had lots of VAs that I've hired, and there's lots of VAs that I've fired.
Oh.
hmm And it
Mm.
is a job to find the right one. But I think the first step is outlining all the stuff that you want that person to do first and being very specific about that. And then there's some websites, and I can give you those websites to use that will find people that will fit that job. And in fact, I think there's a company that I use that helps. Here's the job description, and then they try and find that person, and then they present you candidates, and then you pay that company, and they make a little slice of the money on it. Or you can go direct, be very specific about it, and then out of everyone that replies back, what I've done is I've given them a challenge, and I'll send them a message, and I go, so this is how I do interviews. I want you to create a video for me where you're telling me why I should hire you for this specific job and your talents. And then there's a task I want you to do. And that task is and I give them something that I want done and get that back to me. And you'll be amazed how many people don't make it past that.
Oh, that's funny.
And
Yeah.
okay, great. That was
That's
not
where
going
we
to work
don't have
out.
the patience.
I know. That's when I'm like ready to slip my wrist. I'm like, never mind, we'll just do it ourselves.
But the thing is, Wendy, you got to remember, it's a long-term thing you're doing. So you're going to sit there and kind of suck it up on the front end to go through the patience of the whole back end for what you're trying to achieve. I put it, interview them, look at their resume. And when I say their skill set, you got to know what they're already proficient in. Because if they're proficient in most of the things that you already are running, then the learning curve for them is very short. I tease people when they haven't done it because I go, good, then you have no bad habits. And then we go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people that don't really have the experience or the things that I'm looking for, but their communication to me, I'm looking for the person that communicates to me very well, number one, and gets it done quickly. That's what I want. I don't really, they could have, I could have no, they could have zero experience in video editing. They could have zero experience. I mean, what are the top three things that you want them to do, Wendy?
Content, chopping up stuff for reels and making it not boring and having someone with a creative mind. Like I don't want to have to freaking tell them every single thing that needs to happen because otherwise I just do it myself. That's my problem. Is okay, so how do you find someone that wants to be just as creative as you?
So one of the things that you can do is, hey, I want someone to chop up my videos, to make reels and stuff like that. And then the ones that reply back, great. I mean, you can reply back to all of them if you wanted, or just some you just go, hell no. And then say, okay, here's a sample of what I want done. And here's some raw content. And give them some links to download all that shit. And say, your job interview is to do this assignment and send me back what you got.
All right. Yeah, I know. Need to work on that.
That'd
Carrie,
be
you
good.
use a VA?
Did you say something to me?
Yeah, you use a VA?
I did. I did have a VA, but she didn't do the reels or anything like that. She did more data entry and stuff like that. But I'm bad at that too with the whole teaching on what, because I'm like, fuck it, I'll do it myself. But I learned now I record what I do. I'm talking through what I'm doing, send that to her so she can see and catch on to that. But she's really inexpensive too, as long as she's not making calls. I can hire her for $5 an hour.
Oh,
The other thing is also you have to define the type of person you need for what you're doing. As far as reels and stuff like that, I wouldn't go with a VA. I turn around, I put college students, whatever, the younger generation gets it. So at that point there, you might need several people. To me, the VA is the one making the calls, setting the follow-ups, doing all that stuff. Your reels and all the media and all that there, go find you a college student. And the funny thing is you got all these people going to college and school for social media and things like that. They already get it. So now, and Carrie just said a good thing. If you don't want to sit on a writer training guide, not that you couldn't let ChatGPT or something like do that, make the video showing what you want. Give the video, give examples, have them sit there and use that as a reference for the training and go from there. Because their learning curve is so great, they're going to teach you. Oh no, Wendy, wait, there's an easier way to do this. Got to show you this. You're like, and the way you are like,
right.
oh,
That's what I want. I want
yes,
someone that can even do it better than me,
yes,
and
yes.
then
College
be
student.
like,
I'm
Wendy, you
serious.
need to do it this way. You're
Go
old
find a
school.
college student that's taking classes on social media and all that there, and it'll knock your socks off.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea, Leon. And just maybe do Craigslist ads and say, I'm looking for a college.
Post it right there on Facebook. You'll get all kinds of
Yeah,
responses.
or on Facebook or
Yeah, Facebook
Or I could
Marketplace.
find someone that's good on Instagram and Facebook and then
or
message
you
them.
know,
Do you want a job?
even why don't you run an ad on TikTok or run an ad on Instagram and say, hey, I'm looking for someone to do some video editing and just put it out there. Message me back.
Make sure you got some money bags and dollar signs and stuff floating around. You got to get that attention.
I'm looking for the person to take this raw video here of me.
Tech Tuesday, they're an hour long. Yes, you could pop them into OPS or whatever, and they cut them up into 10 reels, but I don't like how they cut them up. And it doesn't look like I want to cut up important part and put it all together and have cool stuff going on with B-roll and stuff. That's what I want, and I want to promote people to my group. So
Brock can't do that.
no. He said
Really?
he says he doesn't do reels.
Oh, jeez.
I know. So there's that. Anyway, but sorry, I didn't mean to take over this and turn it into a VA thing, but you talked
Well,
about leverage and systems.
yeah,
So here we are.
leverage and systems, totally, 100%. I mean, I agree. It's like a long time ago, I did the math. It's, well, God, if you want to make 300 grand if you want to do 300, hold on one second. If you want to do 300 grand a year, divide by 52, divide by 40, assuming we only work 40 hours a day or a week, that's $144 an hour.
Oh, mine's at 400 because if you do a million, you're at $400 an hour. And so Joanne reminds me of that too. She's like, really, that's what you're going to be doing, and that's your $400 an hour job.
Exactly.
So
I mean, yeah, we all have a little bit of extra free time. So, but if you take that $400 an hour and you say, I'm absolutely not going to do anything that's 200 and less, not going to do it anymore, you got to find an outlet.
yeah. Yep, that's the goal this year.
Worth the time invested.
That's leverage right there.
Leon, do you have a VA?
I have had a call center down in Nicaragua I was using, but I think I might jump over to Happy Grasshopper. When I went and moved everything over to Chime and Lofty, I wanted to get my database in there and tuned and stuff like that. And now I'm coming back into what I want. I'm a little more unique in where I'm at because for me, buyers, if they're not a high end, I just refer them out to the agents in my office. I sit there and stick primarily dealing with the listing side of things. So now I'm ramping all that back up to where I want it to be. And I am looking, because I mean, some of the stuff, I don't need a whole lot of high-end stuff when it comes to videos or whatever. I'm starting to push my YouTube channel out there now, been rebuilding it, so it's almost where I want it to be. But I've got a licensed assistant also. So I don't have a problem going, here you go. And my joke is she doesn't need to know my signature better than me because she's a licensed agent, so she can sign her own.
That's great.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't feel guilty anymore when I'm sitting on my couch watching TV at 7 o'clock at night thinking, God, shouldn't I be doing something? I don't have that guilt no more. But you know the deal. When I show up for work, I show up for work. I know what I got to do. I sit down. I'm gonna get it done. And we drop the ball occasionally. I'm like everybody, and I don't always get everything done when I want, but I don't let it frustrate me if I know that I was doing the things I was supposed to and I just couldn't do it.
I love that. I think that's awesome. We should all design our lives to live our lives where, where we have time. I'll tell you a little story. There's a woman in my neighborhood who's been doing real estate for 50 years. I mean, she's older and she's one of the top agents in my where I live. And so my wife, she'll take Uber and stuff like that if she's going back and forth to the airport or whatever. And the driver was her son-in-law. And somehow the conversation came up about real estate, and my wife didn't let him know that I was in real estate, but somehow that came up, and then he started talking about this agent, particular agent, and he said how she was like nonstop, 100% real estate, no time for her children, no time for anything else. And I think, and how that wasn't great for his wife.
That's old
And
school. That's the old school high producers.
That was me. My kid said that on my gravestone when I die, it's gonna say, I'll be to heaven right after this email. How's that?
you
Like,
know, I
hmm.
mean, I'm laughing. I mean, that's sad, but I mean, let's design our lives so that we don't have to deal with that. So that's not the
Yeah,
case.
yeah, that's being a broker and a single mom, and yeah, and still helping buyers and sellers and manage 50 properties and have 25 agents at your brokerage that you're babysitting. Like, yeah, not a whole lot of time. I was at every game though, every softball game. I wasn't a terrible mother. And I was like, oh, Natalie doesn't need to learn how to read. She's going to be in the Olympics because she was amazing at gymnastics. And I was like, okay, I should have rethought that. Yeah, bad parenting. But anyway, they're both great. And now my life is so much better. But I wish it would have been like this back then.
Well, great. Well, at least you're making some strides now to make that a change. Yeah. So that's exciting. So keep at it. Get that VA, darn it.
I know, I know. We're gonna do that this year.
Make that on your to-do list. Put
It
And
that
is.
on,
towards the top of it.
Ah,
break that down into a few tasks and put those tasks on skin on the game. Skin in the game.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I know. We broke down and did it last year. It was just a disaster. And it was like, oh my God, I was more stressed out having a VA that was like, it was like the middle of the night in her country when she's working. And I'm trying to train her and zombified. And she said she knew how to do this. And I looked at her stuff and I was like, what is this?
I'm quick, slow the hire and fast the fire.
Oh yeah, we took it in the shorts too because we prepaid for
Mm.
whatever it was through this company.
Uh,
Like, you still have 2 weeks. I'm like, I don't want to deal with it for 2 more weeks. Bye.
No, you
Uh,
know, and I remember having a VA several years back where I suddenly realized that I was creating work for them to keep them occupied and busy. And I realized that it was taking up more of my time than I was probably getting out of that business relationship. And now a lot of times when it came to getting my VA up and running and doing stuff, it was like because there's a time difference because they're in the Philippines. So I would do Loom or you could do Bomb Bomb or something. And here's what I need you to do and blah, 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 and give them the instructions and then send it to them. And I was done. And there's this, it didn't matter. It's like the time difference erased at that point. So using things like that really helped in terms of here's what I need you to do. And I explain it to them and then send them the video and that's it. And it was done.
So when we had that presentation thing and I sent it to you and you said, "Oh dear God, your colors are terrible." And you gave that to your VA and she just changed it and made it look so good. Did you tell her what you wanted or did you tell her how to do it or did she already know how to do it?
I just told her what needed to happen and then she just did it.
I know it was like done the next day. He's like, "This is what mine looks like." And I was like, "Oh, that looks good." I mean, I'm a teal and red girl. He is definitely not teal and red. And yeah, she made it look so nice. And then Carrie, didn't you use his VA to do yours too? Yeah. So it
She
was
did
like,
it, and then she did my color, and then she sent we sent it over to you.
I know. I was like, that is so cool. I didn't even, yeah. So I
Yeah.
want someone that knows things that I don't have to knows things that I don't even know about Canva. You know what I mean? Like I'm learning how to bulk create right now. That shit is fire, by the way. That was so cool. I literally bulk created 30 reels with luxury content, and they're all different videos. Now, my videographer sent me 14 videos that he wants me to cut that I can cut up for this content because I don't want it to be the same kitchen, the same bathroom, whatever, every time. So now guess what I'm doing? $400 an hour freaking real content creation. um,
That's why I said the college student or whatever, because see, you've got examples of your work so they can see what you do. And at that point, you're wanting someone that's intuitive enough to do it. So that's why I say you interview, you look at their resume, and then you see what their skill set is. To me, a VA is different than my video needs and stuff like that. They really are. Because as you start looking, even though when we say what's interrelated and whatever, our videos, everything we do online, social media, and all that there, it is part of our business. But to me, that's not the VA's job. The VA's job is working inside your database, handling your clients, doing all that there to set you up for that. The videos and things like that are outside of that as a standalone thing that's part of your business. And so that's why I really say go after a college student because they're already learning this. And if they're already in school, they're the ones learning the new tricks and hacks already that we haven't heard of yet. So you look up and you're always, you like to be trendsetter at the front end of things. They're going to get you there.
And the one thing that I'll say, and then we should wrap up here because I like wrapping up by 10, but um, I've set up, I think what works good for me and having a VA, and I know several people that have multiple VAs because you find someone and they have a good skill set in this particular area, but not for everything, right? So once you find the best use of that person, keep with that. Now, if you need another VA to do another aspect of your business, go for that. And I have something set up so that I, I'm no longer, because of that experience that I told you about before, where I felt like I had to keep someone busy, I don't have that set up with somebody. I go, this is what I'm looking for. And in that interview, I kind of see how fast they get it back to me. That's one of the criteria too. It's like how fast can they turn something around and have it be good, and how many revisions, if any, does it need, and hopefully none. And then my deal with my VA is 20 hours a week. I can commit the 20 hours a week, and here's how much I'm going to pay you, and it's under $10. And so that way, because it's like my budget for my VA is no more than $500 a month. And so, however that works, where I can get some productivity out of them and within my budget, great, I'm happy. I can send them instructions. I communicate with my VA mostly through email. I, I've never texted her. She doesn't even have a phone number that I use. It's and Zoom calls. We have a once a week Zoom call. We just she shows me what she's been working on, great. And usually during the week, I'll email her with a bunch of things to check into or do or those kind of things, and she'll email me back or during
Does
that
she
week.
does she try to find out like how to do things on
Yeah,
her own?
if it's got, I'd like to do this. Can you figure out how to do that? Or what program or something do we need to be able to do this? And she'll track it down. Yeah. So totally.
Cool.
But I'm not hiring a 40-hour a week person to do all. I'm looking for someone for a very specific thing. I'll commit to a certain dollar amount a month, and it's however many hours that translates into. And then I'll commit to that. And so long as that keeps working, super. And then, so if I want somebody to do calling, I'm going to find somebody else specifically to do calling.
Have you guys looked at Upwork? Have you used Upwork at all?
Uh,
Find people that specifically do specific things.
yeah, so I think it's Upwork or yeah, I think I have. It works
Because you
okay.
can kind of see what they do, like their portfolios in there or whatever.
Yeah, that one's kind of cool. And where I go, and so I've tried posting in the Philippines. I've tried using Craigslist, but for whatever reason, there's so many companies out there trying to hire and compete to find people to work. And so what they do is they all report your ad as bad. So it all gets
Oh,
deleted and they're doing it to each other because they're in competition to find workers and then they try and take those people. And anyway, great website that I found is called PH Jobs. And I don't know if it's .com or something else, but PH Jobs, so Philippine Jobs. And you create that job description, you put it in there, a bunch of people will respond within that day. You email them all out the challenge and you see who responds and you make a decision on that. And then I set up a Zoom call with them and I interview them and I say, great, we'll try it out for a week, see how it goes. And then after that, you can make a decision.
cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you for all this.
All right,
Yep,
guys.
love leverage.
Yeah, 10 o'clock. So, all right, thanks for joining. Did everyone get was this helpful?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
definitely.
So you do this weekly then?
Every week. Yep.
Okay.
This same time. Hope to see you next week.
I'll be here unless God prevent. I'll be here.
All right. Sounds great. Sounds great. We'll see you then. I think my
Awesome.
link is going to change, but APG Mastermind is where you go.
For group,
Mastermind.com.
your
Yeah.
group.
Yeah.
Yeah, so join the group because the recordings live streaming into the group or no?
Well, I post them. I post them into the
Okay.
group. So I got a Facebook group and if you go to where is it? Agent Power. If you go to agentpowergroup.com, agentpowergroup.com, that's got the links to the Facebook group and the Zoom calls.
What's the group and follow-up boss called?
Not Follow Up Boss, Facebook, she
I mean,
means.
Facebook,
Oh,
sorry.
Facebook? Yeah. So here, let me just put it in the
That's what I
chat.
meant.
We'll see. Where's the chat? Chat.
I'm multitasking, sorry.
Okay. Right there. So agentpowergroup.com. And that has the link to the Facebook group and the Zoom calls.
Awesome. Very good.
Okay, cool.
All righty. Thank you,
Oh,
Herb.
I
All
already
right, guys.
joined.
See you next
Have a
week.
great day, you guys.
Have a
Great
great
week.
week.
Everybody have a good week.
Bye now.
Bye.